Projects that we have coming up are the Desert View area in general, and it sounds like the SCA, are you the leader?
No.
Oh, somebody,
I'm
okay.
just a nerd.
You just know about it. We're going to have a group of, I think there's 60 students total that are coming here for an alternative spring break with the Student Conservation Association. And they're going to be here in a couple of weeks, and they're actually going to start that project at Desert View. So that's going to be a big effort over the next couple of years. It is challenging out there because we don't have a lot of plant material, but I think we can still do a really good job. And then a big one that's coming up is, how many of you have been to Mountain Point? One of the first, like you kind of drive into the park and you've got to go to Mountain Point. Well, you don't have to, but a lot of people go there. That, in the next couple of years, is going to transform itself. And we've got a large role in that project. We've collected a lot of seed, we've started growing a lot of plants, and we actually have started removing the native plants from that area, and we'll be holding those until the construction complete. Overall, in this, you're going to see a vast transformation, and I have incredibly high hopes for it looking just phenomenal out there. I mentioned on the Herbert Road slide that project itself actually gave us a very unique opportunity. When we first started doing the surveys along the road, that information also gets used in environmental assessment. So we look at the impacts of the projects. And one of the things that we realized was that Maricopa Point, that was the only, or that was the primary, I should say, location of the park's only endangered plant species. So the only listed endangered species occurred along Herbert Road. So with careful planning and working with that planning team, we were actually able to design part of that project around protecting that plant species. So century milkvetch, a lot of people think it's century, like it's 100 years, and so its lifespan is 100 years, but it's actually more like it's guarding the canyon. It's a tiny little plant. It grows right on the rim. It grows in the most unforgivable terrain you can ever imagine. It doesn't really seem to like soil. It just likes cracks and rocks. So when you think about trying to protect a species like that, there are definitely some challenges with it. We have been monitoring that plant for probably, well, at least since 1980 with actual transects, and we've seen its population go up and down and up and down. The 150 plants in 1980, that's along the transects, and then 2000 we had 604, and this last year we had 428. So that's the largest population of this species, and there's only 428 individuals. And they're in a national park, and we are basically going to protect this plant. And we are going to make sure that it survives. And not only are we going to do that because it's the right thing, but we are actually mandated to do that. There is a recovery plan. So when you've got an endangered plant species, there's always a plan with what you're going to do. You don't just say, well, it's endangered, we'll see what happens. Oh, maybe it'll make it, maybe it won't. You try to take proactive efforts to make sure that it actually makes it. And with this species, it's going to be challenging. I mentioned it doesn't seem to like soil. It kind of grows in rocks. So there are a lot of things we don't know about it. We don't know a lot about what pollinates it. It's actually got really low seed set, and it's incredibly challenging just to grow it because it's teeny tiny. And so we're working with the Arboretum. Is anyone with the Arboretum? They're one of the partners on that project, and they're actually helping us propagate. So with a limited number of plants, in total there's 700, what was it, 725 from the last slide, in existence. You really don't want to collect every single seed that they produce. You want to collect just a portion of it. So you've got a limited number of seed that you're working with. They're microscopic little seeds. So imagine those of you that are gardeners trying to work with these tiny seeds and get them to grow. So there are definite challenges, but the overall goal is to actually have 8 populations with more than 1,000 species. And right now we don't even have one with 1,000 species. So we've got a lot of work to do, but there is a recovery plan, and luckily we have a tremendous person who's leading that project, and she's in the audience. Jan Fusco is just doing a great job of being the lead on their endangered species work. We do a lot of monitoring with that species, and I hope that next time I give a talk, I can tell you that we're up to maybe double, 1,550. That would be my goal. Other species, so that's the only endangered species, but that doesn't mean that's the only one that's in limited range. The park has a lot of other sensitive species and endemic species. So what is endemic?
Unique to the area.
What?
Unique to the area.
Unique to the area, so it's found nowhere else. So we've got at least 9 species that are endemic just to Grand Canyon National Park. And then beyond that, we've got another 23 that are just only found on the planet in this area, in just the Grand Canyon and kind of surrounding area. I think these numbers are going to change a little bit with the latest efforts that we've had with the vegetation mapping. But right now, we're actually reviewing that list of species, and we're also working on updating a book that was done. For those of you who are really interested in this type of thing, this is something that a former botanist for the park put together, and it's a sensitive species handbook, and we're working right now on updating this. It's got some species that are included that truly aren't rare, and they're truly not necessarily sensitive, so we're trying to refine the list, and we also have other species that are very rare, that aren't included. So that's one of the efforts that we're taking, kind of, I guess, in our spare time. And I wanted to mention another really nice partnership that we have, and it's with the Desert Botanical Art and Illustration Program. And they have students that are, I'm going to pass this around if anyone's interested actually. They're students that are doing line drawings and also watercolors of some of these plant species. And that is kind of a dying art. There aren't a lot of people that are still doing these beautiful drawings. And the students are so great and they're so interested. And so their work is going to help us, one, update that book, and we're also taking photographs that will help update it. But the other thing is that it's kind of trying to generate excitement and enthusiasm about that as an art form, a craft, a hobby, or even a profession. And to that end, we actually have an exhibit that's going to be at Cold Studio in, oh my God, next year, it's in 2010, we have so much work to do. July and August of 2010, and we're going to have a botany bonanza that entire period of time, so that'll be super exciting. And we're doing it all for free, too. I just want to mention a few, what time is it? Oh, where did it go? Oh no! All right. Okay, I'm going to talk faster. Oh, that's really bad. I still have so many slides. Okay, since it's great plant species, there's one. There's one. Shoot. Okay, this one's really cool. Its stamens stick out like that much. It's just ridiculous. When you look at it, you're just like, what is going on there? And it's also, it's in Arizona and it's in Nevada, but it's actually a Chihuahuan desert species. So it's kind of this disjunct population, and it's got these really sticky rings around the stem. And a lot of people think that maybe it's to keep ants and things from robbing the nectar. Okay, next. This one is only found in Grand Canyon, and it's only found in a few locations. And this is a great one if anyone wants to volunteer. I actually every year have people go and monitor these populations. And next. Grand Canyon agave. This is a really, really incredible plant. It looks different than your typical agave. How many of you have actually seen this? It's in Grand Canyon, but you can also find it in a few locations in the Verde Valley. Actually, that picture on the left, I think, was a Verde Valley closely related relative. And this is a species that was actually cultivated in Grand Canyon. And so it was brought in, and you only find it near dwelling sites. And it's only found that we know of in 4 locations. It's really easy to get to know it. It's easy to identify, so as you're out and about, this is a great one to kind of keep an eye out for. But one of the areas that we know for sure we'd like to re-identify it is in the Tapeats area. There was kind of a historic sighting from the species, and none of us have actually found it since then. So you can get to know that one and look for it as you're out.